Howdy, howdy, howdy from the text from almost give away the company, the flying auditor. Say, guys, I thought I would put this out there. This was something I wanted to bring to everyone's attention. It's 6 months old. Lackluster put it out, and the title is "Combat Disabled Veteran Was Laughed at by the Dallas PD when the veteran soils himself because of his combat injuries." To me, this is very serious, and let me just share with you. Lackluster premiered this about 6 months ago, and I did not know. And Lackluster, if you happen to get a hold of this, hats off to you, brother. Lackluster is a combat medic from the Afghan-Iraq era. Did not know that. He's a vet. He's seen that. He's been there, and he's got the T-shirts to prove it. And I have to tell you, my respect for Lackluster has gone to the 10th power. This is incredible. And what we're going to be covering is an incident that happened in Dallas. I'm from Texas, and this deals with a pizzeria by the name of Serious Pizza, located out of Dallas. There is a combat veteran in June of let me see here, what was the date? June 10th, 2023. And this combat vet at 2 a.m. in the morning had an issue due to his disabilities that he had happened to him while he was in service of our country. He has to if something happens physically, he can use a public restroom or a private restroom. And there is a Texas law, and I thank you, Lackluster, for Alley's law that was passed in 2007 that requires any public or private entity to allow a person that carries a specific card with medical information that says, hey, this person has a need. You have to accommodate that need as an ADA to utilize your bathroom facilities. And this deals with a pizzeria. Don't know it, never been there. But as I've reviewed it, I'm going to share with you, it's called Serious Pizza. The gentleman in question is DYNELL Lane, served honorably, and I'll just, we'll be going through what Lackluster put out. This really struck to the core of me. I'm post-Vietnam. I am not a combat vet. I've not seen what these guys have seen. I've had my share of being shot at in a different venue, a different arena while I was in service, different from what these guys in Iraq and Afghanistan have dealt with. But I think you would be interested to see the interesting reviews of this pizzeria. And if we look over here and we look at the disabled, and if you see if you click on disabled, there's a 1-star. A month ago, a lovely video about the restaurant. They refused to disable veterans. So someone picked up on this. 2 months ago, sad to see a place that doesn't honor our vets. An anonymous person, same scenario. So you can go to Google reviews and see the 1-star reviews of this restaurant that absolutely gives the crap about veterans. Now, let's go a step further. Let's go on the veteran click. So far, the first one a month ago, a local guide, just really, singing the accolades, as you can see here. But if you go down, Alex Z, and it goes down 1-star, 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 and it goes down. So for me, that tells me that a lot of people picked up on this video. I'm 6 months late, but better late than never. And again, Lackluster, my hat's off to you, brother. I did not know you were a combat medic. You've been there, you've seen the stuff, you've helped your guys, and I have a total 10 times power respect for you, more so than ever, because you've been there, done that, and got the T-shirt to prove it, brother, and I appreciate you. So I just wanted to share that with you. But let's get into a video that was taken by the PD This was exposed by the DallasCityNews.net, and really talks about, and I'll shut up. I'll let you listen to this. It's going to be 12 minutes or so. But guys and gals, this is worth a listen. And if you're out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you know, I think I will never support an organization that trashes our veterans. I'm post-Vietnam, from World War II, the Korean vets, Vietnam vets. I mean, every venue moving all the way to present. If you're a business that craps on a veteran that has served our country, let me tell you, that just pisses me off. And in the comments and in the description, I'm going to be providing you stuff from the Dallas County Appraisal District, specifically about this LLC and the manager of the LLC with a telephone number. So, you know, I'm not saying anything other than I'm providing you with information. What you do with that information is up to you. Of course, you know, be civil. Don't do any stupid things like threats or any of those things. It doesn't get you anywhere. But really, especially the guys and gals of the veteran community, you need to just express your dissatisfaction with why these people shit on a veteran like they did with this man. Then I'll play the video and I'll interject myself as it comes through. So here we go.
No investigation is warranted.
The officers are not familiar with the law.
Welcome back to the Lackluster channel. In 2004,
we're in Mosul right now.
I was a medic for a mechanized infantry unit in Iraq.
Somebody's dying.
During the 13 months
and I want to say, Lackluster brother, I appreciate you. I appreciate you more than you know, guy. You know, you're a young guy, you know, comparatively to an oh so very guy, but I appreciate you for what you're doing, and with you exposing the BS that's going on.
Spent wondering why we were there. My platoon took many casualties.
He's not dead. No, he's gonna make it. He's not dead? Nope. Huh? No.
One of which was Manny Melendez-Diaz. He survived the Battle of Fallujah in November of 2004. But in December, with only 2 months left in our deployment, an IED detonated next to the Humvee occupied by Manny. The up-armored vehicle was torn open, and Manny suffered catastrophic injuries. Over the next few years, he fought for his life from a hospital bed, and throughout the past 19 years, he's had dozens of surgeries, removing most of his intestines and his right leg. And it's because of my experiences and relationship with Manny that this story is so important to me. It involves DYNELL Lane, a man I've never met, but one who lives with a shared experience. During his deployments.
Now, let me say something here. You don't understand if you're not a vet. Regardless of the era, we all have a camaraderie. And my heart is specifically out to DYNELL for what he endured in Dallas. And Lackluster guy, I appreciate you. I contacted you about 3 or 4 months ago about blind justice, and I really thank you for covering DYNELL. And I really want to get you involved in blind justice, not taking it away from DYNELL. I digress. Here we go.
Lane also suffered serious injuries that resulted in numerous operations on the lower parts of his body, leaving him with a disability that requires potential emergency use of a restroom. Texas and several other states have passed laws that allow people to use the restroom of an establishment if they can prove that they have a medical issue that has necessitated an immediate use of the facility. Mr. Lane was at Serious Pizza in Dallas on June 10th of 2023 and notified the manager of his situation. It was almost 2 a.m. and the establishment was beginning to shut down for the night, but they officially close at 3. The manager refused to allow him to use the restroom, and 2 off-duty Dallas police officers stepped in to talk to Lane. The officers are...
Now let me interject myself into here. I hope, like all get out, that manager was fired.
Are hired by the restaurant to provide security and are allowed to represent the Dallas Police Department by wearing their uniforms while working. Lane tried to reason with the officers and showed them his American with Disabilities card.
Now let's let's look at this. Here we have a guy, a veteran, a disabled veteran, that is having to show this card. Now, put yourself in this guy's place, in DYNELL's place. You have a bowel problem, and you have a card that's an ADA card that says, I've got an issue, a medical condition. Think about the mindset that you have. You're exposing yourself to everybody and their brother that you have a personal issue with your body. And you have a document that says to the owner, to the management, or whomever, that, look, I've got this problem and I want you to take care of it. And DYNELL was denied. Moving on. This pisses me off.
But the officers refused to look at it or his other medical documents. On the verge of an emergency, he called 911 to have an officer dispatched to look at the documents and to allow him inside to use the facilities. But the responding officers didn't arrive until nearly 3 a.m., and as a result, Lane suffered a urine and bowel leakage. So he left, calling 911 to tell them that the officers were no longer needed because of his accident. But the two officers arrived anyway after Lane was gone, and at least one of the officers acted.
Now, let's look at this, y'all. Do you see the smirk on these assholes' faces? They're laughing at the fact that DYNELL sold himself because he could not control it because of a combat injury that he sustained while serving our country. Moving on.
Activated his body cam as they entered.
Yeah, my fault. Somebody's a video recording. Let's go here. What you guys call making that one?
Let me come in here and ask Cody High Roller, any of you guys out of the Dallas area, News Now Ninja, I know you're up in that neck of the woods. Please look at this and let me know, and please publish the name of the LEOs that were involved in this egregious disparity, this disparagement of this combat veteran. I mean, I'm annoyed. I'm just pissed right now about this. Here you go. Moving on.
Somebody find out one of the systems of the
You guys made a guy pee himself?
Yeah.
Can you hear these schmucks? These are people that don't give a shit. These are people that go through a 6-month academy. I've got 30,000 hours of law enforcement training with a canine in the military. I've got a criminal justice degree. I run circles around these assholes. And yet these young idiots absolutely laugh at a guy who's got a problem. Regardless whether they know he's a veteran or not, he's a human. And he should be treated with respect. And they did not do that. Moving on.
And then he calls back and said it's okay, he doesn't need PPE anymore because he used oil.
The video ends there as the officer deactivates his body cam. Because the first two officers weren't serving in their capacity as officers, neither ever activated their cameras. After the incident, Lane filed a complaint with the department, but as usual, the Dallas police investigated themselves and found no wrongdoing. Actually, they found no reason to even conduct an investigation.
We are unable to establish a violation of the departmental policies or procedures. As a result, it's determined that no investigation is warranted.
So let me stop here, guys. In your community, I want you to investigate the sheriff's department and your local PD. Who controls review of the LEOs in your districts? Is it a separate board? Is it internal? Dig into it. Ask questions. Go to the city council. Ask questions. Because when you have an organization that polices themselves, look, been there, done that. I know the model. You know, in the military, we cover our asses and we cover our friends. Apply that mental process to any career field, whether it's the law enforcement, whether it's doctors, welders, it doesn't matter. You have your friends back. So irrespective of the career path, there's a innate way of, or an innate thought of covering for your friends. If you're at the upper echelon, if you're management and what have you. So I encourage every one of you, I challenge you, if you're listening to this, go to your city council, go to your chief of police, go to your sheriff, and most importantly, go to the mayor of your town and ask them who is responsible for the oversight of police errors and omissions and criminal actions against the citizenry. Ask them, is it a separate group or is it an internal investigation by internal affairs, IA? And I've always been from the school, if you're an IA guy, you should not have any relationship with anybody in your department. You should be shielded 100%. You shouldn't shoot pool with them, drink with them, go to dinner, fellowship with them, none of that stuff, to keep an unbiased attitude. But I challenge you to ask those questions of your local areas. Are the IA personnel, or do the IA personnel fellowship and work with and go to church with and eat with the people in the department? And FOIA that, ask them, or is there a relationship? Because that shows bias. I'm sorry, I'm just ranting right now. It just pisses me off what happened to this guy. Moving on.
After the video went viral, the Community Police Oversight Board questioned the internal affairs officers who found that their co-workers had done nothing wrong.
How can you condone the laughter and the comments?
Of course, the internal affairs officer dodges the question and responds in a way that shows that neither he or the officers he was investigating understand the law.
His complaint was that the officers that were there when he arrived did not let him use the restroom there at Serious Pizza. The officers are not obligated, or they don't have any rules that say that an officer has to let a citizen use a private business use their restroom.
That is where he's wrong. A quick Google search shows that the Restroom Access Act requires businesses.
Now that's in Texas. So look at this law. Now, every one of you watching this, see if there is a comparable law in your state that is similar to this. Important. So you can put that in your back of your brain, because there's a lot of us disabled vets that fall under that law. Moving on.
Is to allow customers with proof of a medical condition to use the restroom. That includes their employee restrooms if public restrooms are not available. But the IA officer is so detached from it that he even refers to the Americans with Disabilities Act as the ADH.
Is it a violation of the law such that the Dallas Police Department or any other police department would have the ability to issue a citation or enforce that law?
No, we'll have to dig deeper into that and find out the specifics about the ADH federal law as it applies to using.
All right. Did you hear it? And Lackluster made a great point. ADH? This guy's a moron. Not Lackluster, but this specific IA guy.
Private restroom.
Are you saying that the officers are not familiar with the law?
I don't know how familiar those officers were with that portion, so I will not be able to speak on behalf of them.
So you're saying that the officers refusing to read the card as when he presented it was following policy, procedures?
So again, that's something that I'll have to review when it comes to ADA.
So, did you hear this major, the scale right over here on the right? This is a major of IA. CYA cover everybody's asses within the department.
And how that gets applied.
They are servants of the citizens. And by refusing to cooperate, they're violating a policy. And there was no investigation.
The conduct of the officers and the comments regarding what happened to the complainant, is that something that DPD would say is okay conduct?
We don't condone that conduct, but certainly it was outside the scope of Mr. Lane. He was not present, neither was anyone else present. It was between the officers there on scene.
So basically, if no one's around to witness the offense, it's okay. But even that answer is incorrect.
So let me come in here. I've got a concern when it's strictly IA, internal affairs. So look in your specific areas and ask, is there a entity outside of IA that monitors police actions against the citizenry? And then if I were you, I would pull up every single member of that committee in detail and just find out who they are, what they represent, and really dig into them to see if they are just there for shits and giggles, or are they there truly to represent the citizens of your community. Moving on.
Video, at least 2 employees of Serious Pizza can be seen interacting with the officers during the exchange. Not to mention, now I've heard it, and it's my duty to expose it, especially when the officers knowingly recorded their interaction. In the end, the IA personnel claimed that there was no violation without having an even basic understanding of the law that they were trying to determine whether the officers violated. They also claim that they had never seen this video, which leaves the question, what exactly were they investigating? The Dallas Police Department Code of Conduct states that an employee shouldn't ridicule, mock, taunt, or belittle any person, whether they're on.
So did you hear what Lackluster said? These guys said they never saw the video, yet they have body cam. That just goes to show you we are enacting our power and moving on to the next whatever. So to me, when you're dealing with somebody that's got a medical issue, whether civilian or veteran, you need to think and help. You don't need to condemn and criticize. Moving on.
Duty or off duty. So regardless of the disability status of Mr. Lane, he's human, and to treat anyone this way makes these officers unfit for their job. Serious Pizza issued a statement claiming that they won't have those specific officers return to work there, but their own employees can be seen laughing about the situation as well. It's also possible that the Dallas police has video from the female officer as they speak with the restaurant's manager, and has yet to release it.
Now, before Mr. Lane speaks here, my recommendation, if you're of the ilk that you want to redress, I'm going to be providing stuff in the comments in the description below. I'm going to be providing you detailed information. Keep it civil. If you do approach them and you talk to them, no threats, that's bullshit. You don't need to do that. However, you need to let them know your displeasure, especially if you're a vet. I don't care whether you're World War II or all the way to 2024. Veterans are veterans. We all have each other's backs. And I'm an old guy, and yet this stuff just pisses me off. And I'm 4 hours from Dallas. And I am very seriously considering flying out there and meeting with some folks, and even meeting with the owners of the pizzeria, because what they did and what their employees did to this veteran is unheard of. Because if it weren't for the sacrifices from the guys from all the way from World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, as it moves forward through the the wars, if it weren't for us that signed our name on a document that said we would pledge our life, our bodies in support of the freedom of America, regardless of what you believe, whether it's politically correct. Us guys that believe in nationalism, we believe in serving. For you guys that don't believe in serving, let me just tell you, fuck you. If you think that veterans are bad people, why don't you just unsubscribe from me? Because I don't give a shit. I don't need to hear from you. It's people that believe in security. And when you own a business, and I have multiple businesses, and when you have employees that disparage a person that has problems because of combat injuries, to me, that's egregious. And I think as an owner of an LLC, of a company, I would, with no equivocation, I would can your ass in a heartbeat. Sorry for the diatribe. Sorry for this really touches me. I'm going to be covering some stuff on blind justice, Mike Nelson, in detail later on. This is something that's out there that Lackluster covered. And I wish and I pray, Lackluster, if you capture this, get with me, because there's a guy by the name of Blind Justice who's endured such a horrendous offense that should be making national news, but is not. And it's important. Doesn't take away from DYNELL at all. I'm going to concentrate on DYNELL because DYNELL was done wrong. Sorry about this. You can tell how passionate I am. We'll move on. Sorry about that.
Good evening. My name is DYNELL Lane, and I live here in Dallas, Texas, District 3 area. I'm here to hold Dallas Police Department and the specific local retail food chain Serious Pizza responsible for adhering to their oath to uphold policies, practices, and code compliance requirements of the federal, state, and city America Disability Act guidelines, also known as ADA. No one, including myself, should be denied access while attempting to give retail stores a federal or state identification card, legal, medical, professional documents, or diagnosed conditions to utilize their staff or public restrooms due to their disability. If a retail establishment chooses to ignore a person who is trying to present such documents, they should be held accountable, because this is why ADA is in place.
So DYNELL has made a great point here. ADA, huge. And I think private businesses need to be held to account because they are required to accept ADA. And if it's a building, and I'm a real estate guy, so if their building is X amount of years old and there's an ADA compliance issue that needs to be complied with, unless they meet a threshold of age where they can go beyond the ADA and keep their facilities status quo in terms of access, yada, 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 then they have to comply with ADA. And see, a lot of owners don't want to do it because of the cost to make accommodations for ADA, width of the doorways, ramps to be able to access the restaurant, the whole 9 yards. And that's a total video unto itself. So let me go on here.
While serving as a sergeant in the United States Army, I was deployed to Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Iraq, where I sustained low extremity life-threatening injuries that led to me specific disabilities. Because of those wounds and injuries, I had to be medevaced out of combat and into a Wounded Warrior Battalion unit for a year and a half, where I had to undergo surgeries regarding my lower extremities. My life has changed drastically, and has been a constant fight having to explain myself about my disability just to get assistance from public servants and private businesses while I'm out and about. This battle leaves me in constant depression and suicidal at times because of the shame of asking strangers for help while in public and not.
Did you hear what he said? Suicidal thoughts, because he's having to ask for something that normal people that need to go to the restroom take for granted. This is a guy who put his life on the line and paid the price with his body. So let's not forget that. This is important. Imagine you, whether you're female or male, and you are plugged up in your orifices and you can't go to the bathroom, or you have to evacuate yourself in a public facility. Imagine you're at a point where you're walking and you need it because of your injuries, you have to do something. The ADA is clear. You have to be given the opportunity to utilize facilities. And for what DYNELL had to do, I'm hoping to get a hold of this guy, because what Dallas did to him and what Serious Pizza LLC did to him, it's unconscionable. And if I lived in Dallas, I'd be a cold day in hell before I'd eat your pizzas. There's no doubt about it. Moving on.
Having a normal life anymore. If police officers are hired to work for privately owned companies, I do not believe that means they only answer to the following company's instructions. Rather, I believe they should follow the policies and procedures that the police department has set forth for the protection, service, de-escalation, and assistance of citizens and citizens with disability. Change is needed if there is no such policy in place among Dallas businesses and Dallas police departments. June 10th, I have the issue, 2023, at Serious Pizza, with them refusing to grant me access to the toilets during regular business hours, despite my disability, and my polite plea for assistance from 2 uniformed Dallas police officers inside Serious Pizza. They failed me, and the Dallas Police Department failed me. 2 Dallas police officers discriminated against me and declined to assist me in bridging the gap between myself and Serious Pizza manager by not giving me courtesy of checking my ID and my supporting medical documents, nor did they try to de-escalate the matter that would allow me access to Serious Pizza restrooms during the regular business hours. I then had to call 911 to assist, but they were unable to show up and respond in time. As a result of this neglect, I had to endure urine and bowel leakage while inside the restaurant. As a United States Army retired sergeant, I had to higher expectations from the city. Please hear me when I ask all to make change so no one with a disability will endure what I had to endure. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Lane.
The Oversight Board has opened a new independent investigation, which should meet again in the coming weeks. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would
Lackluster, I appreciate you, bro. Again, my hat's off to you. I did not know you served in the capacity you have. As I stated earlier, what you have done for our country is greatly appreciated. And what you do by covering the atrocities across the board, veteran, civilian, is greatly appreciated by this cowboy and by all the guys and gals I know that are part of this. So God bless you, brother. I appreciate you. And DYNELL Lane, I hope and I pray you get a hold of this video, and I hope I can get a hold of you. I've actually got some special operators that did something in Vietnam that live in the area, and I'm going to be contacting them to see if we can get with you and speak to you outside of a camera and then just visit with you, brother. So I appreciate you. I don't know you. I love you. I appreciate what you've done for me and all of the people in my family. You've done something that a lot of people in the United States will never do, is you have given a piece of your body, your mind, and your soul for the defense of the United States in support of what you thought was right. Whether it was right or wrong, your thoughts at the time it occurred, You were protecting and you were serving what you thought was right. And for all the people that think about the military complex, yada, and I agree with you, but let me tell you something. If any of you people out there that disparage veterans and you question their service and you've never had the gall or the guts to put your name on a line and sign your life to the possibility of being killed, maimed, or injured for the United States, you have nothing that I want to hear, because you don't have the guts to put your body, your mind, and your soul and your family to support our country. Am I a nationalist? I believe in the United States. When I go overseas, and if I decide to live in the Philippine Islands, and if China decides to invade, you know what this old dude's going to do? I will personally be glad to defend my new home country against those communist bastards. So, DYNELL, I appreciate you. I don't know you. I love you, brother, and I hope to meet you. And Lackluster, my hat's off to you, brother. I really, my respect for you outside of being a YouTuber had jumped up to the 10th power of respect. So God bless you, brother. This is the Flying Auditor, Disabled Veteran, Post-Vietnam. I want to say God bless America and God bless our troops. We're out of here.